You're about to listen to a Metal Express Radio exclusive interview. Head on over to metalexpressradio.com for our latest rock and metal interviews. And while you're there, check out our web radio, read our reviews, and rock and metal news. Enjoy the interview.
Your latest album, The Theory of Everything, is due out at the end of this month. I think it's on the 28th of October. Are you looking forward to finally getting it out?
It's kind of a mixed bag there. When I'm still working on the album, and when I'm almost ready, I'm like, oh my God, this is so good, and the whole world's gonna love me, and this is gonna go platinum, and this is the best ever. Really, and then I finish it off, send it to the record company, and then I'm so sure of myself, and then I have to wait 3 months,
Yeah.
For all the albums to be made, the art to be pressed, and then the insecurity kicks in. And then you get first reactions of people, say like, "Whoa, it's kind of difficult. We have to get into it. We love it, but And then I get insecure. So at the moment, I'm in my insecurity phase.
All right.
But it's always like that.
Yeah.
And then it comes out, and I must say the pre-sales are going extremely well. So all the signs are good.
So when did you start working on the album? Because it was 5 years since your last Ayreon album.
Right. Well, in between, I did a couple of other albums. I first did Guild Machine, which was a more atmospheric album, maybe a bit more in the Floyd style. After that, I did Star One, which is my metal project. And after that, I did my solo album, which was a really, really eclectic album with all kinds of shit on it. Really very personal stuff, based on a lot of bands that I'm influenced by, like the Beatles and Floyd. So yeah, I did a lot in between, because I really can't do 2 Ayreon albums in a row.
No.
It takes too much out of me, and emotionally and creatively, so I always need to blow off steam, and my solo album was definitely a great way to charge the battery again. And I think I started this album, I think the moment that my solo album was out, usually I wait until I have a couple of ideas, or let's say until I have like 50 little ideas. Usually I wait and I record all these ideas on a cassette player, then I go into the studio, choose the best ones. But this time I did it completely differently. I didn't feel like waiting for that. So, because I call it my black hole period.
Yes.
After an album, I always dive into that black hole. It's terrible, and I didn't want it this time. So I just went into the studio with the first idea I had, which was basically the theme of this album, the Hammond, the little Hammond part. Ding, 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 that's all I had. And I just started working. So I just started working and recording, and one part led into the other, and led into the other, and so I recorded and composed everything chronologically, and at some point I was like, oh my God, I just wrote a song of 23 minutes.
Yes.
I didn't realize, and I thought, well, at least now I have the epic of the album. But then I started working on the second song, and the same thing happened, another long track. So I guess this new way of working resulted in 4 long tracks of more than 20 minutes.
So it actually started from a germ of an idea from a riff on the Hammond organ, and it sort of expanded from there.
Right, yeah. Well, usually I don't know what project I'm gonna do. I usually start and then I change my mind all the time.
Yes.
It's gonna be this, it's gonna be that. No, it's gonna be this. But this time I had this Hammond part, which was truly very Ayreon. So I knew from the beginning that it was going to be an Ayreon.
Yeah, because there's a concept running through the album. What's the album? What's it touching on? What's the album about?
Well, I watch a lot of science documentaries on TV. Like Through the Wormhole with Morgan Freeman, or all the Stephen Hawking stuff.
Yeah.
And at one point they were talking about the theory of everything, which sounded so huge.
Yes.
Just sounded like an Ayreon title, really big and epic and pretentious, which is synonymous with Ayreon.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to do something with that. Technically speaking, the theory of everything is the theory that wants to unify the very small, which is quantum mechanics, with the very big, which is gravity and general relativity. In my story, it's basically about a scientist trying to find this theory, and he's very close, but he can't solve it. Then he finds out that his son, his autistic son, is actually a true genius.
Ah.
So his son could help him find the theory, but the only way to get him to do that is to give him a drug, which with dangerous side effects.
All right.
That's the basic story.
It comes at a very timely moment with the discovery of the Higgs boson particle as well, with the award of the Nobel Prize just last week. So it's a timely release to tie in with that.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I said, I watch a lot of this stuff on TV, so it's all stuff that's happening at the moment. That's very cool indeed, yeah.
Because there's 42 songs split between 4 main songs, and that the 42 tracks, that's a significant number. That's connected with the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Absolutely, yeah. So, when I was finished, I had 4 tracks, and I played them to people. And a lot of people, like I call it my circle of trust, like my brother and my sister and my ex-wife and my whatever, usually non-musicians. And a lot of them said, whoa, 4 20-minute tracks is a lot, it's like a big mountain to climb.
Yes.
Maybe you should think of subdividing them. So I thought, well, that might be a good idea because it doesn't change anything in the music, and maybe it makes it easier for people also to skip to their favorite part, if they want to play someone, Keith Emerson solo or whatever. So then I started subdividing them, and I think I came to 39 parts. At some point I thought, oh, it would be very cool to do an album called The Theory of Everything and have it have like 42 tracks.
Yeah.
So then, I just couldn't resist doing that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Because you've got an impressive array of guests on your album. Did you have a wish list of people that you wanted to appear?
I always do, yeah.
Yeah.
And on top of the list, of course, are all those bands and musicians that I grew up listening to.
Yeah.
Like the really huge names that I probably never get, like Gilmore and Robert Plant, Richard Blackmore, Geddy Lee.
Well, yeah, I think you've done very well with Rick Wakeman, Keith Emerson, Steve Hackett, and John Wetton's. It's the sort of prog rock royalty on there.
Oh yes, they were definitely. They have been there ever since I started Ayreon. I mean, Keith Emerson, Rick Wakeman are my 2 heroes. Was absolutely. So a lot of these dreams, absolutely, they came true.
Yeah, because you've got a couple of relatively new artists on there, Michael Mills and Sarah Squandrani. Where did you first come across those?
I read a lot of magazines, and I have this big list, and every time I read something about a band, either a review or an interview, I write it on my list, and then I check it out on YouTube. And I read about this band called Toehider, which was very close to Queen, the early Queen albums, which I love. So I checked it out on YouTube, and I was completely amazed. It was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I like. And then in the sidebar, you have all these recommendations.
Yes.
There he was playing Thick as a Brick on an upside-down bouzouki. Amazing. And then he played the whole of Bohemian Rhapsody on an acoustic guitar. And this guy was absolutely crazy and an absolute genius. So I contacted him, and he knew my music. Yeah, he's from Australia, so he came all the way from Australia. And I was actually nervous, because he's such a genius. And, he's not a big name, but maybe I was more nervous to work with him than I was with working with Bruce Dickinson or James LaBrie or something.
Right.
But he turned out to be a very, very nice guy, very polite, a bit shy even. and an amazing musician.
Yeah, so that's Michael Mills' Toe Hider. So that's one for everybody to check out. Yeah.
It's very, very much in the style of the first 4 to 5 Queen albums.
Oh, the best ones.
Yes,
Yeah. Because working with the likes of Rick Wakeman, Keith Emerson, Steve Hackett, and the likes. I mean, did you work with these in the studio, and what did you learn from working with these guys?
I usually, all the vocalists, I fly into my studio. It's very important for me because I see this as a movie, and I'm the director, so I need the actors here, to explain their motivations and stuff. So all the singers were here. For the solos, it's different. They can do that on their own because the solo is very personal.
Yeah.
So all the musicians you just mentioned, the keyboard solos and piano stuff, they all did it on their own with their own technician in the studio. So I did not.
Yeah.
I wasn't present during the recording. I did meet them, however, of course, and amazing people and amazing musicians.
But when you're writing the music, do you have a specific voice in mind when you're writing, or does it sort of develop over the course of the writing of the album, or are you writing for a specific person?
The way I work is I start with the instrumental music, and then when I've got about an hour of music, I listen to it, and I let it inspire me to come up with either a concept or a story. Once I have the story and the music, then I start thinking about which singers fit this story, which singers fit this music. Then I write down a list of singers. Then I contact all these singers. And once I have the singers, I base the characters on them, and I write the lyrics on them.
Right.
So, for instance, when I did Electric Castle, I didn't have a Highlander in the story, and I had to look for someone from Scotland.
Yes.
The other way around, I got Fish.
Yes.
So I wrote the Highlander in the story.
Yeah.
So if the singer says no at the last moment, I'm totally fucked.
Has that ever happened? Did you have any problems like that on this album? Did anybody sort of weren't able to make it at the last moment? It sort of happened, yeah. Yes.
Of course, I can't tell you now.
No. Another time, maybe.
Yes, yeah.
Do you have a sort of demo version of the songs ready with guide vocals on that say you've done yourself, that you present to the singers and say this is roughly what I want? Go and put your own take on it.
Definitely, yeah. That's exactly the way it goes. Usually, I do the guide vocals myself, which is good and bad. It's good because people hear it and they think, oh, I can definitely do that better. And bad because I can't reach the high parts, if I have singers like Joran Lando or Russell Allen, these heroes, I can't sing like that. But this time I had a fan of my music, a guy here in Holland he's been a huge fan ever since he was 15. He's raising me. And he's actually really great. He's a really great singer. So he sang all the guide vocals, and he has an incredible range. So he could do all the high stuff, he could do the low stuff. He came over here for what was it, like a week or something, and he sang all the guide vocals. And I sent those guide vocals to the singers, and indeed I tell them, listen, these are just guide vocals, so we know what to sing and approximately what to sing. But once you're here, we can completely change it. And of course, I need your style of singing. That's why I ask you. So,
So who did you have doing the guide vocals?
It's Wilmer Warburg. He's a Dutch guy, and he sang backing vocals on my last solo album.
Ah, right. Yes. At what point did you feel that the whole project was clicking into place? That there must have been a point where you thought, yes, this is going to work like I envisaged it. Or are you still waiting for that moment?
No. That's a good question. Yeah. It did happen at a certain point. First I write the music, and I'm still insecure, and then I come up with a story, and then I write the lyrics, and then I think, is this going to work? And, are people going to get the story? And aren't these lyrics too clear? Shouldn't they be more poetic? And then the first singer came, Marco Hietala of Nightwish. He had to come early because he was like really busy, so we had to finish his lyrics. And he came over in the studio and he started singing these lyrics that we wrote, and suddenly it was like really, I had tears in my eyes. He was looking at me, what the fuck are you crying? It's not that great, but he was singing it, and suddenly it came alive. The lyrics worked, and he was that part of the rivalry. He was the bad guy.
Yeah.
And really, suddenly it's like, oh yeah, shit. Oh, this is gonna work. This is gonna work.
Yeah. So how would you see the Theory of Everything then as a step forward from the previous album 0101?
Step forward, it's hard to say, but it's definitely a reaction to 01. Because 01 was a very big album. It was very very dark, very heavy, quite industrial. Loads of singers, 17 singers. Many layers. So, and every album I do is always a reaction to the one before.
Yeah.
So on this album I have less singers, which allows me to showcase their talents way more. Because there's more space. It also allows me to get more instrumental parts, so it has way more instrumental parts. This album is not as heavy as 01. The sound is way more transparent. I want to go back to those old days where the 70s, where it wasn't this guitar wall of 12 guitars on top.
Yeah.
If you heard like Stargazer, you heard Richie play. And you heard everything. It was so transparent. It wasn't the production. So I really wanted to go back to that of hearing all those instruments separately and not this whole wall.
Yeah. Does having so many different projects here, Ayreon, Guilt Machine, Star One, you also worked with Stream of Passion and Ambient as well. Does that all give you different outlets for different aspects of your creativity?
The way I see it is that Ayreon is my mothership, and Ayreon has all these styles. Everything is possible on Ayreon. But after doing an Ayreon, as I said, I want to blow off steam, so I need to do something simple, so I concentrate on one of these styles of Ayreon.
Yeah.
So basically, Star One is the metal side of Ayreon, Ambient is the more electronic side of Ayreon, String of Passion is the more gothic side of Ayreon. It's just nice to concentrate on just one style, and maybe one singer.
But back to your latest album, as usual, there's going to be a wonderful package which is available for pre-order on your web store, with the limited edition version coming as 2 CDs, 2 bonus CDs, a DVD, and an art book. It's obviously very important that your music comes packaged in an impressive cover and bonus material.
Yeah, it as a kid, that was so incredibly important for me. Really, I used to buy LPs just because of the sleeve, or just not buy albums because there was no lyric sheet. Really, it happened, Yeah. There's no fold-out sleeve, I'm not going to buy it. And of course, that way you bought a lot of crappy albums with beautiful sleeves, and a lot of great albums that didn't have sleeves.
Yeah.
But it has always been important for me, and of course now in these days of illegal downloading, it's even more important.
Yeah.
People spend money on this while they can get it for free. If they download it illegally. So if they spend money on it, they want to be spoiled. They want to get something that's like really like a collector's item. Like something. This beautiful book, and all these pages and all the artwork, and it's a lot of money to invest in. But I believe in always, time and time again, spoiling the fans.
Yeah.
Because then they trust you, and they know they will get something special every time.
Absolutely. Because Jeff Bertels has again done the impressive artwork. How do you work with Jeff? Do you give him an outline of the concept and let him come up with a design, or do you discuss the design together?
We discuss it together.
Yeah.
I basically explain the whole story to him. Then I tell him what I want to see on the sleeve and what the whole atmosphere would be. Actually, it's funny this time, because I wanted to do a lot of things differently on this album. Like I told you before, I wanted it to be different. So there's no science fiction this time, which was hard for me, but I did it.
Yes.
There's no sci-fi this time, so I was thinking like maybe I shouldn't get Jeff Bertels because he's a fantasy painter, and I can't have that here. But then somehow I regard him as my Roger Dean, or as my hypnosis, like Yes had Roger Dean, or like Floyd had hypnosis, and then I thought, no, I want Jeff, because the fans expect that too. But what can I have him? It's a story about science, and he can't draw people, paint people. So what is he going to do? So basically, I thought, some cool lighthouse, and then a big landscape, and a wild sea, and let's write a lighthouse in the story. So just he can do the front cover for that. Yeah.
What have you included on the bonus DVD? What is that? The making of the album?
Yeah. There's 2.5 hours of stuff there. Like we filmed everything. We filmed me picking the singers from the airport, and we filmed the recordings in the studio with the singers. We interviewed all the singers and some of the musicians. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. There's me explaining the story, and there's also a time lapse of Jeff Bertels doing the painting. A lot of these little things. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, and the two bonus discs, they're instrumental versions of the album. Are they instrumentals with the vocals removed, or are the vocals replaced by, say, a keyboard line?
No, it's just with the vocals removed.
Yeah.
The thing is, a lot of fans are always asking me for that. It's either people who want to do some karaoke version at home, or it's people who want to perform it live, like my album Human Equation has been performed live, I think.
All right.
10 times by amateurs who asked for the instrumental versions, and they do it at schools or little theater plays and stuff like that.
Yeah. Did you ever consider putting the demo versions with the guide vocals out at some point?
I discussed that with the record company. They didn't think it was a good idea. They had a few reasons for that. They said the singers themselves, the eventual singers might not like it. Maybe you could have the bullshit like, I like the guide vocals better than the final vocals.
Yeah. Yes.
So of course, the guide singer is like shit, because he really wanted that.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah.
He's gonna come over here for 2 days, and we're gonna mix all his vocals and put it on YouTube. So it will be available on YouTube.
Yeah. How is the pre-order going at the moment?
It's way too fast.
Is it?
All the shirts are all sold out. Sold out within. We thought like, we got a couple of months to sell the shirts, but it was like sold out within a week.
Yeah.
The bundles are gone, unfortunately. So it's going really, really fast. That I hope that's a sign for the sales in general all over the world, of course. Pre-sales are just our shop, we buy those copies from the record company, and we sign them, so that's why people want to buy it in our shop, and of course they want to support the artist.
That's right, yeah. I mean, what about live shows? Do you have any plans for a live production for the album?
No. I played live for 15 years, back late 70s, 80s, early 90s, and I've had it.
Yeah.
I really see myself as a producer and as a composer, and not as a performer.
All right.
It's not something I'm very good at, and it's not something I like doing. And I want to be creative,
Yeah, all right.
Do stuff. So,
what do you plan to do next? Are you looking forward to some time off, or have you got some thoughts moving to your next project?
As I said, I'm quite empty now. I just did this Ayreon, worked on it for 1.5 hours, and it's completely empty now. Of course, I want to start a new project, but I have no ideas yet.
Yeah.
Usually the ideas will come in. I have this little thing on the guitar, and then I never plan ahead, because even if I plan, it doesn't work out. I keep changing my mind all the time. So I just go into the studio and see wherever my inspiration takes me.
Yeah, well, sounds good. And thanks very much for your time, Arjen. I can't wait to see the finished version of the album that's going to be out in a couple of weeks, and I really appreciate your time, and best luck with the album.
You're welcome, Mick. Thanks.
You just listened to a Metal Express Radio exclusive interview. Head on over to metalexpressradio.com for our latest rock and metal interviews. And while you're there, check out our web radio, read our reviews, and rock and metal news.